There is nothing like the end of a year to spark a financial and money noise spiral going on in people's minds. I'm not where I thought I should be at by this time this year. I thought I'd be further along in my business. I thought I'd be further along in starting this thing, doing this thing, saving this thing. I once again didn't go on the trip that I dreamed of taking. I didn't go buy the house that I wanted to buy. And then you get into a horrible shame, overwhelm spiral, which just leaves you paralyzed and feeling like crap. This is only going to keep you stuck in that money static. And this episode is specifically designed to turn down that money noise in your mind, uncover the secrets to amping up your wealth volume so that you can break free of this never having enough cycle in order to have the lifestyle you want. Buckle up, honey. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your relationships, your abundance, and everything in between. Now, don't you think it's about time that you get off the hamster wheel of constantly doing, forcing, pushing, grinding in exchange for getting just a little bit in return? To me, this is what leads a majority of people to burnout, where you're overgiving, you're overdoing, you're overextending, you're overcompensating, and then your cup is never being filleth up. That energy exchange is off. And you've heard me talk about this, and I'm sure other experts, that money is an energetic exchange. I do this and I get this. And therefore, we've been taught and even programmed that, okay, so if I want more of that money, I need to do more. And then we keep chasing that because we want more options in our life. We want more freedom. We want things. We want opportunities. We want experiences. And this is what left me pretty much immobile about 7 years ago. I mean, I was almost non-functional because I just kept going and kept going and kept going. And the amount I was receiving in return and the amount of energy I was putting out to receive the money, it didn't matter that I even made money and I could afford a lot of the things. I was too exhausted to enjoy them because I was physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally bankrupt. And we're stopping that. And you need to start by transforming and changing that old programming, that old money algorithm that's been running in your nervous system, that's been running in your mind. And we're doing some of that in today's episode. But also, if you have not gotten it, the long awaited Make More Work Less guided workbook course is here. First 200 people get 200 off. This is insane. And it's already 50% sold out. So this is a limited drop. You need to go grab it. Projectmewithtiffany.com/make more work less. You can swipe up. The link is right inside of the show notes, right in the description on Project Me TV on YouTube. I can't wait to hear about all the transformations. People are already texting, people are DMing, people are emailing us and sharing just even in the first section, because I've kept all of this so simple and broken down into 3 sections. The amount of ahas and dots that are being connected and the lightness that is occurring in their mind and in their body around money is beyond incredible. It's designed for you to do this in less than 7 days. We don't have to hold on to that anymore, but I know you need guidance. This is accumulation of 16 years of work in terms of me having education in this area on law of attraction principles, on money mindset experiences and techniques, me testing these things on myself and with clients over this entire period of time. So I have condensed it only into things that absolutely work and work quickly. So go grab this. It's not going to last long. I don't know what to tell you if you're not getting this thing. It's the perfect pairing to go with any of my offers. And if you're watching here on YouTube, you can see it. So excited. I mean, look at this workbook. It's 70 plus pages. You get 5 video modules that go with it. And the numbers and stuff of that don't really matter. What matters is the intention and how I've strategically put this together. This is why this has taken me so long to put out, aside the fact that I'm absolutely terrified to put something in writing. Oh my God. So it's so vulnerable. And I share a lot of my story in here. Whew. There's a lot of stuff going on in this workbook. And we've got to be able to dig in order to get those dollars flowing. And there's really no way around it. And anyone who tells you there is, that's like spiritual bypassing, that's personal development bypassing. You've got to go deeper and then the dollars will flow. And this doesn't mean you have to stay in some spot and be miserable and unpack Pandora's box and get into some trauma response. I'm not going down that path. But there's a reason why the money noise in your head has not gone away, and you can't will it away. You can't wish it away. You can't pray it away. And you've probably tried. I did too. And that's why it's not working. What's so cool about this whole money mindset thing is that you are in control of your thoughts. This isn't something that you have no control over. But we can't tell our brains something that is preposterous. That word's so dramatic. I love it. I might say it a few more times. We can't tell our brains that you're absolutely safe. Everything is flowing to you right now as it's supposed to. You're going to be more than supported and safe and secure if that's a worry of yours right now. And your entire nervous system, your inner child, your inner teen, your everything is high alert. I'm terrified. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Right. When we're in that moment, that's not going to really do anything. We have to use and apply logic and actual evidence in order to soothe that money noise. So the first thing that I want you to do is when you're in this kind of a spot, I want you to assess where that static is. Is the money noise, are the scarcity thoughts like super loud and insane and intense? Is the volume blasting? Do you got some bass thumping? Like, how high is this right now? So make an assessment, right? If you have a dial and let's say there's 50 points on the volume dial, where are you at? So just take your own inventory of where that noise is at. And even addressing that, you're acknowledging that it's just noise. That's really all it is. It's just static. It's just noise. So let's just come up with a number. Maybe you're at like 35. Okay. You could be at 50, but I'm just coming up with one. You're at 35. Okay. I'm at 35 now. If it's that loud and it's not just some little tiny static in the background, and I'm not saying that doesn't have to be addressed either. The next thing I want you to do, because this is an acute situation, right? If it is drowning out any of your abundance thoughts, if it is drowning out your nervous system is in total fight or flight or response, nothing matters. We've got to get it calmed down. We've got to get you regulated around everything that involves money. And when we do that, the volume will naturally calm down. So how can we do this? Obviously, different things work on different people, which is why inside of my workbook course, I give several options. But for the sake of this episode, I'm going to give things that I've generally seen work on a majority of people, unless someone has a high level of resistance. And I'm a pain in the ass, by the way. Not so much now to coach, but I'm tough, which is why the stuff I teach works, because I was so jaded, such in self-will. I've had so much therapy and read so many books, it almost worked against me. So I didn't want to buy into anything. Me buying into anything abundant, that felt unsafe to me. That felt like I was getting myself set up to be scammed, because I've been scammed several times before, that I was setting myself up to be let down, that I was setting myself up to only get sidewhacked, or that it was like, this is hocus pocus stuff. And as much as I want to believe it, it felt so vulnerable to believe the hocus pocus of it all, even though it kind of felt good. I didn't want to trust it. And that's why the stuff I teach you guys, whether it's on here, it's on TikTok, Instagram, right here on Project Me TV on YouTube, my workbook and my programs, and my posse membership, why it hits different for you is because my guess is you can have a lot of resistance. You know why? Your station has been stuck on this money noise for a long time. The volume may have been super high at one point, it might have dimmed down, but it's been stuck. Maybe sometimes you have some other music that's playing, but still, it's not a clear station. You know what I'm talking about? Now, some of you are like, I've never even turned like a dial on a radio station before. So this is really difficult one for me. Well, then you can use Wi-Fi as an example. So even with me recording this right now on Zoom, or when I am presenting inside my posse membership, if that Wi-Fi signal isn't clear, if it's not strong enough, right, what happens? You go in and out, it's kind of, you get blurry, there's a delay. So that's what we're talking about, is the signal. The signal isn't clear, and we've got to get it clear, and we need to have it be quiet. So now that you've assessed where your volume marker is on this, I want you to ask yourself this question. And you're really asking your inner child, okay? You're asking, what is it that you need right now to feel safe? What is it you need right now to feel safe? You can add at the end a term of endearment, which I would delight in if you did. What is it you need to feel safe, sweetie? I call my inner child little Tiffy. Think of a kid, they don't know. That's what's so stressful, especially those of us who grew up in dysfunctional households, or households where there was a lot of abuse or even confusion, or where the parents meant well, but they never explained anything to you. And it was like tax time or bill paying time, or someone lost their job, or there was some financial stress and no one explained anything to you, but you picked up all the vibes. You picked up all the static. You're picking up their static energy. This happens with people I coach who are in marriages with people who have a lot of money noise, a lot of static. You end up picking up on their static, especially if you're a highly sensitive person, an intuitive, and empath. And it can happen without you fully realizing it until you're like, oh my God, I've never operated like this before. So let's simplify it. What is it you need? Answer that right now. And you might need to take a deep breath. What do you need, sweetie? Usually for me, it's that I need to feel safe. I need to know that I can make money without having to give any more of myself. Lately, I've really felt that I needed more support, and support from people where I'm not always having to ask for it, where they check in and ask me, what else can I do for you? Whether it's people I pay or people I don't. She really wants that. You know, I've kind of been a lone ranger a lot of my life. And whether you're new to me or not, you probably don't know this, but this show that you're listening to, this was started from zero. I didn't have a special hookup. I didn't parlay some social media channel and cross pollinate and get people onto a podcast. I mean, it started from scratch. I knew no one in this space. People thought I was just doing some like fun vanity project of having a podcast. I'm an introvert. I'm not someone who goes around and randomly like sources guests. I do it for the show and I'll do it, but I'm not this person who has, oh, I have this friend and I'm connected to this person and I name drop this person and I know that person. I'm not like that. In fact, sometimes it can be challenging for me to ask certain guests to come on because I don't want to bother them. I don't want to get ghosted. I'm afraid that they'll say no. And it brings up stuff from like middle school for me. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because you can have everything that you want, even if you're starting from scratch. And I know how important that is for you to hear. You can be starting from $100,000 in student loan debt. You can be starting from having $3,000 in the bank. You could be starting from wanting to totally change your business or start something new. And in a very short period of time, have incredible wild abundance. So I've been monetizing this brand for 4.5, almost 5 years. That's not really that long of a period of time. But let's even go back from 0 to 18 months. By the time I hit 18 months, I was at least where I could depend on it. Absolute guarantee 15 grand a month. Doing it part time and prioritizing my health and my well being, not me grinding it out. That's the opposite of what I teach. Hence the name, right? Make more, work less, or we can do things differently now. Because if you think that you're going to have to give more, trade more, do more, be more of this, be less of this, and it sounds so grueling and it sounds so horrible, that's all money noise. And of course, you're not going to pursue the thing because you're setting yourself up to believe it's so unlikely to happen. It's so unlikely to pay off. So what's the point? So if you knew without a doubt that let's just use 18 months, because I like using conservative numbers. Of course, it can happen faster than that. There's a lot of different dynamics. It depends on your level of resistance and belief. It depends if you have like a coach like me. I did not have a coach in the online space. I was working with like an executive business coach that I'd had for years for my other business. And he's incredible, but he's old school. He didn't know the online space. So if I went back in time, I would have hired someone who was very familiar with the online space because obviously they have the path. And then I would have saved a lot of time. But it happened, it happened how it happened. Perhaps that happened so I could tell you, hey, make sure whoever you're hiring, which it should be me. I mean, you are listening to the show. Whomever you're learning from, it should be from someone who is making money in a way you want. That doesn't mean it needs to be in the industry, but the priorities align because there's a lot of people, and some of them I'm friends with, some of them I'm acquaintances with, where they get off. They're like the old Tiffany. They're type A. I was forcing myself to be a type A. I really wasn't that person, which also led to all of the anxiety and led to me getting sick as well, is because I was like faking being an extrovert, faking being a type A, because that's what I thought you had to be in order to have success. And man, I faked that for a long ass time. And what I have come to realize is you being exactly who you are and being yourself and believing you can be incredibly abundant just as you are today. You don't have to be more, you don't have to be less. That doesn't mean you don't have to do some things differently and shift things around. But typically, if you're someone who is an ambitious person, if you're someone who's a determined, resourceful person, and you're not someone who's entitled and sitting back and wants to work an hour a day and is expecting to make all this money, you're a reasonable person of somewhat sound mind. You have to be a little nuts, but like a somewhat sound mind. It's all here for you, but you have to believe that it's here for you. So back when I was saying about people I know who are operating like the old Tiffany, now these people you watch, now they have this book out. Now now they're doing a live event. Now they have another program and then they're constantly out and they're constantly doing things. I have to mute them. Some of them I unfollow because it revs that nervous system. It revs that part of me where it's like, I have to do more. I have to be more. I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. And then the money noise gets turned up. So the next thing I want you to do is to make an assessment, and you might need to do it over a week's period. It's kind of like when if you're having gut issues A nutritionist will have you write down how you feel after eating certain foods. So now you can kind of notice, okay, anytime I have dairy, I wake up feeling like this. Or when I have gluten, I feel like this. I want you to do this when it comes to the money noise. When I'm around this person, the money noise goes up when I leave them. Or when I've gone to this type of an event or done this type of a thing the next day, your money noise is really loud. When I watch these types of movies, when I watch the news, when I listen to this particular expert. I'm going to give an example, and I know I'll have him on the show one day, and I highly respect him. I don't know if you know who he is, Gary Vanderchuck. Love him. I think he's brilliant. I think he's entertaining, all these things. I can only listen to him in small doses because he is so high energy, so supercharged. And his whole thing is you need to be on all the things and there's never enough content and do more and do more and do more. Push, push, push. And that works for him, right? And he gets off on it. And he's everywhere and he's in all the places and all the things. But it ignites my money noise. It's not about him and it's not taking away from his expertise and his brilliance and his talent, right? Or even his heart for that matter. It's that there's something about that that ignites my money noise. Therefore, it's my job to manage it. It's my job to, then I only watch his TikTok videos and I only watch a couple at a time. So I want you to just take a look at, you could be around low vibration people, people who are complaining. I went out to dinner. Oh, this is a good one. I went out to dinner, was it last week? And I'll go and sit at a bar, like of a nice restaurant, and I'll have an early dinner by myself. I love doing that. Not to say it's not super fun going with someone, but it depends who it is, right? It's kind of fun to just sit there, people watch, be in your thoughts. Okay. And there were some people at the bar, and a couple of them were like acquaintances from the area. And I don't know, we got on this conversation and people were talking about cooking. And I was like, oh, yeah, I don't cook. I wish I was into it, but I'm not. And I said, I love dining out. I love getting DoorDash delivery. And I said, the ideal situation for me would be to have a legit chef like come to my house 2 to 3 days a week, at least to start. Cause I've done the whole thing where you hire a chef and they drop off the meals, but I might not be in the mood for that food. That's why all of those, like I've done Factor, I've done all these things, but then there's not enough variety or I'm not into it, right? I want to be able to say, you know what I'm craving? I really want a turkey burger and sweet potato fries. And then it's made in like a healthy way. Or I really want some form of a pasta dish. And I don't care if it's like real pasta or it tastes like pasta, but just give me some healthier version of it. So that's what I was saying. And they all started laughing at me. Okay, are you a Kardashian now? Like laughing, like, oh, yeah, I mean, of course, everyone wants that, but like, hello, like, we're basically like laughing and saying it's not possible. And I felt the blood drain from my body, which is a sign for me physically that it's shame, right? Like, and I know they weren't like being mean, making fun of me. But in the moment, my inner child felt shame because I'm sharing something I genuinely like. I was stating it as fact, like, this is my next move. It's happening. And that didn't feel good to me. And I had to have an internal dialogue with myself like, okay, number one, we're not having these discussions with these types of people again. That doesn't feel good. Number two, it's the projection of their own lack of belief and their own money noise onto me. And I'm sharing this story so you can hear an actual real life example. They're just projecting their money noise. Their money noise is so loud that it can even temporarily drown out even the most abundant of thinkers. And I was in a very abundant mindset. I was in a very abundant restaurant at a very abundant bar. I was having like oysters and like $25 cocktails. And I caught myself in the moment. And that takes some practice, but I want you to just be much more intentional about what gets your money noise going. Something that I am very curious. So you've got to let me know. Let me know in the comments on here on Project Me TV on YouTube. For those of you who can have difficulty concentrating or you really want these lessons to sink in more, for sure watch the episodes on Project Me TV because you can comment in real time. And it's really cool how that can like help solidify messages, even if you're simply doing it for yourself. And the link to Project Me TV is also inside of the show notes. Yeah, so just taking a look at what throws you off, what throws that station off, what throws your Wi-Fi out of whack, right? And something I noticed, I'm so curious if this does it for you. When I go into stores like Costco or like Target or even ads on TV where it's like already Christmas is being thrown down my throat. And this started before Halloween here in the US. I'm curious when they start this shit in other countries. Like, are they doing this shit in Canada and Europe? Like, I need to know. Is it, I mean, is this, or is this just like more consumerism in the good old USA? And it's like time is going so fast. Time is going so fast. It gets that money noise revving for me. Oh my God, the end of the year is almost here and I'm far behind. I haven't finished all my stuff for my Black Friday sale. I have this to do. Oh, I still have this to do. I haven't planned this trip. Oh my God, I haven't even bought anyone gifts. Now I have to decorate. And it's just like, it's too much. It's way too much. And so, because I know that, that doesn't mean I avoid going into those stores if I need to go in, but I talk to myself before I go in, right? You're going to see all this holiday stuff. And as much as you like holiday decor, let's remind ourselves of where we're at right now and what date we're in right now. And they do this in the stores to rev your nervous system in order to make you feel like you're behind, in order to get you to buy and have that talk with yourself. Just like I had that talk with myself, even though it was kind of after the fact when I was at that restaurant. Let's say I was meeting these people again, which we know the likelihood of me doing that is probably probably really low. But let's say it was something I wanted to do. Okay. Like, because there's a lot of really beautiful, like, toy drives in this area and charity type things going on for the holidays. And I love participating in those. So let's say I go, I would have the same conversation. Let's stay on neutral money topics. And, or if I don't want to do that and I do want to spread my abundance, just reminding myself that people are going to project their money noise onto me. And then we're going to allow that to bounce off. Like my subconscious mindset coach, Brenda Johnston, who I've had on the show a few times, she has me put like a protective bubble and you can change the color. Maybe I have like a purple sparkle Christmas ornament bubble all around me when I go in and it just bounces off. When we know it's someone else's stuff and it's not ours, I don't care if it's one of those annoying people who like spewing facts, like, look at the gas prices and look at the interest rate. Let me tell you something, okay? I travel a lot. I travel more than you guys even see because I don't post all my travel stuff because a lot of the stuff I do are for like corporate speaking events. People hire me to consult on major multi-billion dollar corporations on digital marketing, my emotional based sales techniques, etc. The airports are slammed all days of the week, all walks of life. I'm talking slammed. Flights are sold out. These people are everywhere. People are buying constantly. So I don't want to hear all of the. I'm not saying be ignorant about some of the stuff in the economy, but there's always noise. And if that is not helping you keep your wealth volume high, then we don't need to hear it. Okay. That doesn't mean you become ignorant or you're in denial, but at least paint the picture and point out for yourself the wealth volume side. So now let's look at the turning up the wealth volume because I've already given you some things to do to help turn that money noise down, right? Now you've turned that down, but we want to replace it. If we don't turn one thing down and turn the volume on something else up, then you become in this like middle no man's land, which is a net neutral. And that's much better than the money noise. But most people don't have the palate to stay there very long. It can feel uncomfortable. It can feel too quiet. It's almost like if you've ever tried meditating, silent meditating in stillness. Whew. I can do it. It is really challenging for me, and we don't want to have to work hard. That's why I give you guys my guided walking meditations, and there's a beautiful included meditation exercise I have never done before that also comes with pages in the workbook. Oh my God, it's so good. I'll show you the one section page here. Look. I mean, it is so, so good. And then see every single section, you guys will be able to see there's like you can click and then it says watch, watch video number 4 to go with the section. Like we make it so easy and so fun. And there's coloring pages too, because why not? Because the more fun we have, the more money we make. This gets to be fun. Don't start telling yourself, as I wave my juicy tube at you, don't start telling yourself that this is going to be hard. This is going to be painful. This is going to be miserable, because then you're not going to want to do it. I'm not saying there's not going to be some shit that comes up, but isn't it far easier to finally turn down this money noise and learn how to manage it so that it can stay down and then continue to increase that wealth volume? It's really asking yourself, what's the cost of me not doing that? What's the cost of me continuing to be in self-will and trying to figure this out on my own? It's not working for you. So how about we take ownership of that and take that abundant action? Because that's what that is. Being in self-will and saying, I'll try, I'll figure it out, I'll just do this, ain't gonna cut it. It's not working. It's time to move on. Okay. So turning up that wealth volume. So you've gotten some of that staticky money noise down. I want you to start by doing some daydreaming or night dreaming, right? What is it that you want in your life, truly? And it doesn't need to be necessarily tangible. Behind all the tangible are the emotions that you really want of how you want to feel. Yeah, you want to be able to go on more trips and have more experiences. Yes, you want to be able to get your kids into some special private school. Yes, you want to be able to work for yourself, but what's behind that? Those are all facts. I'm not denying those, but like what's behind it? So I used to say when I was in my corporate job working 12 hours a day, often 7 days a week, traveling nonstop, I would say I just want to be able to wear whatever I want and work on my schedule and not have to answer to anyone. And if I want to go take a trip, or if I want to go in the middle of the day and get a massage, or if I'm like, I just need a mental health couple of days, that I don't have to ask someone. I can just do it. So those are all like facts and circumstances, right? But what is the feeling behind it? What did I really want? I wanted the freedom of my own schedule, of my own time. I wanted the freedom to do what I want when I want while making a lot of money. I wanted to be able to make money from wherever I wanted, where if I didn't want to travel and I wanted to sit on my couch, I could do it. Or if I wanted to spend a month somewhere, I could do it. I wanted the options. I wanted the options with the abundance, and I wanted my effort and the feeling of being so proud and empowered to make money on my terms. And I'm getting the full ROI of my efforts, not, so to speak, time sharing or income sharing that with someone else's company, with someone else's dream. So ask yourself, after you've done daydreaming, night dreaming, like, what is it I really want? It usually only boils down to 2 or 3 things, really. What is it you want? And if what only comes up for you are tangible things, that's okay. Cause then you're going to ask yourself, and what's the feeling behind this? What's the emotion behind this? What's the emotion behind I want to make more money doing something I love? Okay, I hear you, but what is it you're wanting to feel? That is what I want you to hold on to. That is where you can really get that wealth volume higher when you go with emotions and feelings versus just facts. It's like if you were to simply read song lyrics, even if the song lyrics are beautiful, you might feel a little something, right? If the lyrics are that great. But when you hear someone perform the song who's incredible at it, you really feel the song. That's the difference here. I want you to really feel what it is you want, and you are going to sink into that feeling. Sink into that feeling. And as many times a day as you can get yourself into that feeling, even if it's simply for a minute at a time, even if you are disciplining yourself to where every time you take a shower, that is what you're going to focus on when you're in the shower is is that specific feeling of what you want. It can feel so vulnerable to do that because it's like, I really want it and this is going to make me want it more. And then what if I can't have it? You wouldn't have the strong of a desire for it if it wasn't available for you. There's a lot of people that don't even have this thought that wouldn't even be led to this podcast or watching this on YouTube. They're totally satisfied, fine, or completely emotionally detached or whatever in some other world, some other realm. You wouldn't have this thought if it wasn't possible for you. Of course, it's possible for you. If it's possible for me, it's possible for you, but not if that money noise, that money static is drowning you out. This is here. And let's slow everything down. You've got to pull back that bow and arrow for it to spring ahead. But your nervous system and your ego and all the shit you've been taught is saying, no, 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 I've got to do more. I've got to push. I got to be more. No, no, no. This is why rest is so productive. You need to pull back that bow and arrow. Less is more. Turn down the money noise. Turn down all the rapid thoughts in your brain. Turn down, I've got to do this thing. I've got to do this thing. I have this to-do list. I have this. I've got to do. Now I've got to do more. Turn it all down. When you focus intentionally on simply doing just a few things after you've turned down this money noise and you've turned up your wealth volume, the abundance comes. And if you're like, but I don't know what those things are, number one, get my damn workbook course. Number two, this will come to you, but not when your channel is filled with static. That's why I did this episode. You have to and when you first start, you're going to have to manage the static daily. When I first started this, I had to manage it daily. When I flip into a full anxious attachment situation around money and I get scared and I get nervous and and I have all this stuff going on, my number one job is to manage this money noise and this wealth volume immediately, even if I have a stack of things I have to do. There was a point in this workbook launch where I had to do final edits. I also had to record videos, and the videos I recorded for it, I got some cheap ass mic off of Instagram that looked really great. Don't do that. It was an ad. I fell for it. I ended up recording the videos, and then when you played them back, halfway through the audio was all messed up and there was nothing you could do to fix it. And I was so pissed. And my money noise wanted to go, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this. Maybe this is a sign I'm not supposed to be doing this. You need to stop doing this. No, let's get quiet first. Okay. Maybe there is an answer in some of this that this is not the right thing right now, but not making a decision from this place. Okay. We're too activated. So my job, even though I had a deadline, it didn't fucking matter. I wasn't going to push and force myself to record new videos. I wasn't going to throw the whole project out. My job was to turn the static down and turn up the wealth volume. So I let my people know. this is what happened. This sucks. And I went on a trip to Vegas with one of my friends, and we went to a concert, ate lots of great food, got out of my environment. I realized that wasn't just a coincidence that that trip happened at that exact time. It was to get me out of myself. You don't have to necessarily take a trip. Maybe you need a little spa day. Maybe you need to go to a Korean spa. Maybe you need to go to a foot massage place. Maybe you need to go walk around a mall, like the fancy rich person mall that you haven't been to in a long time. Maybe you need to do a little day trip somewhere in your area. This doesn't mean it has to cost a ton of money, but you need to do something to like shake up that snow globe and get out of your environment and get focused on something else. And then the answer typically comes to you once your nervous system is regulated. It was like, of course you're doing this, Tiffany. Of course you're doing this. And you know what? Those videos recorded poorly, because if we look back, you were not in your most abundant state to record them. You had too much money static going on. And then that wouldn't have translated your best work and your best message for the people who are buying your course. And you wouldn't have been ultimately happy with that. And so I trusted that. And then when I came back on one Sunday, and I already had, the videos mapped out and such. And on one Sunday, I knocked out all the videos in, I think it was like a 3-hour period. And I didn't have to even redo one video. It all naturally flowed and I could feel it in me and it felt so good. And this is why people are writing in saying, oh my God, just from your first intro video, I feel it. And I went, see, this is why. More for my evidence bank, right? Of why things happen, even things that happen that are so frustrating and so annoying and so aggravating. It's really all to serve ourselves and the greatest good. But we have to step away and regulate this stuff. So have that internal dialogue. What is it that, what is it I need today? What is it I need to feel good? What is it I need to feel safe? What's going on? What is this noise? Okay. I hear you. There's bills to pay. There's things to do. You want to do this. You're not as far enough along as you thought you'd be. No one's buying your thing. Okay. We hear that noise. All right. But let's take a look at the wealth volume. How can we turn that up? How can we remind ourselves that everything we want is here, is available, is happening for us? It's just not necessarily happening on our exact time frame. Where can you pull back the arrow? Where are you overdoing, over controlling, over giving, over managing, over analyzing, overthinking? Where can you do less? Where can you coast a bit? You can't always have your foot on the gas. That's going to end in an accident. Where can you take your foot off the gas, even if it feels counterintuitive, and give yourself some room to breathe? That is where the wealth volume turns up on its own. You'll get the clear answer in there, but not with you gripping that steering wheel and having your foot down on the gas and swerving in and out of traffic and being angry and yelling at people and I've got to get here, I've got to get here. Wouldn't you rather be chilling on cruise control, or even better yet? I mean, I'm afraid to do it in my Tesla. Have the car drive for you. I'm like, I can do it when the road is straight, but PCH, Pacific Coast Highway, the famous Highway 1 in California, I'm not ready for that yet. But even on cruise control, because it gets to be easy, it gets to be fun. That doesn't mean there aren't moments that feel hard, that are difficult, that do mess with us. Of course, there are. But where can you start taking the foot off the gas in your life and allowing for it to be a certain way? It could be allowing yourself to learn from me, so you're not figuring it out on your own. It could be allowing yourself more space to breathe and for more creative time. It could be allowing for people to help you in your life. It could be allowing yourself more room to receive for you doing less. It could be allowing yourself to show up exactly as you are in any given day and not trying to be more of something or less of something. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. I love you so much. Excited for you to get the workbook, projectmewithtiffany.com/make more, work less. Swipe up, it's in the show notes. And if you could also leave a 5-star review of the show, if you only have time to tap the 5 stars on Apple or Spotify, literally takes 1 second. That's amazing too. And if you want to share your appreciation and your abundance for the show, doing a written review on Apple Podcasts is so amazing and helpful. And I read each and every one. It's the only platform right now that you can write a review on. And if you don't know how to do it, you can Google, how do I write an Apple podcast review? But tapping the 5 stars also goes a long way.